it's really dusty in my room because I just took all the Beanie Babies off of the shelf that I have up there. My sidekick legs. And it's really dusty because I've had them up there for nigh on 10 years now, starting with about the first year that I got my bird, my cockatiel, because birds like to chew things, and as you can see from the destroyed tag here on legs, she had a field day with my Beanie Babies. So even though they were up on a shelf, she flew up because she didn't have her wings trimmed. So she ate their tags and pooped on them, and I thought, not good. So I covered them all up with plastic, and they've been up there for 10 years now. My bird passed away last year, March 2nd, and they've been up there since then, just sitting there, gathering dust and excess bird fluff that was left over. So I finally took them down today, brushed them off, little moth things on them, it was really gross. But now I have my Beanie Babies again, and I think I'm going to have them sit with me while I do this, because I forgot how freaking cute they are. I forgot how much I love Beanie Babies. God, they're adorable. So I have frogs. I have one frog. I have Legs with me today. He's going to be my co-host for Tuesday. So welcome everybody to the Wotown Writers Tuesday edition. I'm Caitlin. A little bit about myself, going off what Erin said. I am 23. I graduated from Bowling Green State University with a Bachelor of Arts in English and a minor in History. I am a writer, hence the Wotown. I'm also more into editing. I'm a writer with 2 part-time day jobs, not really full-time, kind of looking for that. I would like to go into something having to do with editing. I like editing. I like grammar, punctuation, that kind of stuff. Fixing stories so they bring the author's voice to the fore. I don't know what else I could talk to you about here. I wouldn't want to do the 15 random facts out of the Cup o' Destiny like Erin did, because that would be copying. And I feel like I should have my own shtick, so I think that's going to be the Beanie Babies thing. You'll probably see one each week as we go. Each Tuesday I'll have a different Beanie Baby with me until I run out, and there's a giant box of them behind me, so we'll see how many weeks it takes before I run out of Beanie Babies. This week, just talking about ourselves, I guess, as writers. I suppose I could tell you when I started writing. I honestly don't know. It's been a while. I know when I started reading. Actually, I don't know an exact year. I can't really pinpoint any of it just because it feels like it's always been part of my life, I guess. Reading's always been part of my life. You know, I learned to read specifically so I wouldn't have to bug my mother to do it for me. I was just like, oh, no, don't worry about this. I got it covered. I can read now. And I would. I would read books and books and books and books, and I didn't really have a lot of friends in middle school, and I had good friends in high school, but they weren't always in my classes, so I would often read or write more than I would socialize. So I really enjoy reading and just words and stuff, because words aren't mean to you, and I mean, unless you pick a book, I guess it's like the book of insults, maybe if you're just looking to be insulted. I like a lot of fantasy, not so much with the horror, just because I have this overactive imagination that lets me imagine after the fact how the circumstances within the book that completely do not apply to me could hypothetically apply to me. So when I'm laying on my very short bed at 1 o'clock in the morning and the house is dead quiet, it's really easy for me to imagine crazy things coming out of the corners and blood out of the walls, and it's not good to have an active imagination to read horror, at least in my case. So I stay away from that. Not so much with mystery, but fantasy, sci-fi, general young adult fiction, really whatever strikes my fancy. I'll read about anything. What I write, since this is a writer's blog, I should probably talk a little bit about that. I don't know. A large majority of writing that I've ever done was either with my own characters, in a role play that we did online. Me and some of my friends, actually, some of the ladies from Wotown Writers that we did online. That was about frogs who rained from the sky on Tuesday. And that's become my thing, because I started it. I was like, hey, you know, why don't we, I didn't know about role-playing at the time, so I was like, hey, why don't we just do this thing where we do a story together and every person posts another part of the story and we'll all have characters. And later I was like, oh, that's role-playing. But at first I didn't know that. So I did the first post, and it was about my character walking to the window and opening up the curtains and being like, oh my god, it's Tuesday, I have to go to school, it's raining frogs. So now whenever Tuesday comes up, I'm like, oh, I remember that. Tuesday and frogs, my thing. So that's where the Tuesday and frogs comes from. is that. So that was some writing I did. Later I went on to more boards, more roleplay boards, and I did some of that. I did a vampire one. I did 2 vampire ones. The second one had shifters and witches in it, and I stayed on that one forever. But I also did a couple Harry Potter ones, some other ones I think that I'm on with my friends. So that was the majority of my writing. But I also do, you know, stuff that I write for myself, things that don't get finished, things that get stuck in my head, things that I'm like, oh, I want to try that out. I don't really write with the intention of getting published. I just sort of write because that's what I feel like doing. And I guess I term myself a writer because, not necessarily because it's what I do professionally, just because it's what I do. I write, therefore I am a writer. Kind of like I read, therefore I am a reader. But I think that's really it. There's not a lot of whole hidden agenda to it. Unlike Aaron, I have never finished a story. Goodness, I've never even gotten to the middle part. Barely developed anything. But I guess someday I would like to be published. That'd be kind of cool. But it's not my goal. My goal is just to write, and I think I'd be happier editing other people's stories, you know, reading manuscripts and helping their stories get published. So yeah, that's where I'm going with it. Don't know what else to say right here. I think I've talked long enough. I'll probably chop this up into little bits so you don't have to do crazy long forever. But this is my first post on Tuesday. Next week we will be talking more about books, influences, favorite authors. I have a bookshelf behind me that is calling to be shared, so you can get a little bit more info and background on my reading history and where I'm coming from, and what sort of influence has made me this deranged person that I am today. So tomorrow's Wednesday, and you'll be hearing from Jessi. You'll be meeting her. So yeah, tune in. We'll see you later, and I will talk to you next week on Tuesday bright and early, and you can find out what crazy creature I will have on my shoulder, my head, possibly doing, I don't know, puppet dances. Rah, rah, sis, boom, ba, we have the most words, rah, rah, rah. Yeah, so me and Legs would like to bid you adieu. See you next Tuesday. Thanks for stopping by.